Hello, friends. So, today I want to talk to you about a war that has been going on for the past many years, actually. To me, I believe it's been going on for the last 10 years, but doing some research, I realized it's been longer than that. And you may be asking what kind of war it is. And it is I'll tell you all about it. And let me know if you agree with me or if you think this is just a bunch of not true. So let me know. And but I guess where I'm gonna start is there's a huge, very scary war going around right now. I'm not sure if a lot of people have noticed. A lot of people are still very oblivious and still asleep and don't really realize that we are in the last days. And by these days, where a huge war is happening, and like I said, possibly for the past 10 years or even longer. There are many talks about World War III coming soon, and that can happen any minute or any day or any year. But with everything that we're hearing lately, it just seems like all the countries and every ruler, all the presidents, they all want to be. They're not seeking peace. They're seeking something to maybe tell the world that they're bigger or they're in charge. But there is a lot of talk about the physical World War III that can happen any year or any day, especially nowadays. We're hearing a lot of stories about it. And this will be like using possibly a nuclear weapon. And if that happens in this war, there will be no winners. Because this war will affect most countries. This war will be like, I think I had a friend who had a dream, and she had seen in her dream that um, half of the earth was red and the other half was like green, which means she could see in her dream that half where it was red, it was like burning and it was on fire and it was terrible to look at, which means that a lot of people are stating that the war will be involving half of the countries that we have right now, which means if we have 195 countries, then it means half of that will be 97.5 countries who will be involved. If you think about that, that's like a lot of countries. How will they be involved? I'm not sure, but there will be um, yeah, it will be terrible. So hopefully it doesn't happen in our lifetime, but knowing that we live in the last days and things may happen quickly, like in some prophecies we heard that it will come in one day. Everything will change so fast. You wake up one day and it all has changed. Imagine that. And I can only think of that when someone drops some kind of nuclear blast will happen in some country. And this way people will be so terrified, and this will make a change in 1 hour. And I believe it is already starting, even this time and age. It's already starting in some countries. Different wars, different people are involved, and different countries already are kind of all are. They're not trying to make peace. They're trying to be more, like I said, who is the better one, who can withstand longer. So instead of looking for peace, it goes the other way. But today I want to talk about another war, and it's more like and this war is happening in every country. So, and it's happening on every, if you turn on the news, if you turn on any video, anything at all, you'll be able to see it. And it shows that everybody are involved, and you can even Google it yourself. But, and if you do your research, you will see that every country is involved. It is a war, a huge, scary war that I did not even realize that it was happening until I saw a video recently about a man who was talking about how the things that he saw has noticed happening, and he brought a point that this is what's happening, a war, and it made me kind of like open my eyes, and I was like, whoa, it's really happening. And it just made me realize that it is happening. And when we read different passages of the Bible, we just not realize it pertains to us specifically. So as I saw that, I was like, whoa. And it made me realize, it made me pay attention. And it really is happening. And I'll tell you all the details about it, all the little points. And when you look into it, you'll be amazed too. I believe I have like 5 items I want to point out to you. And then possibly we'll show you some. Well, I'll probably share some examples what's happening. But there is a huge, huge war, especially for us Christians. We really need to be aware of this because it pertains to us. Let me give you the details. So if you look around yourself and you realize, if you watch the news, if you watch any videos, any movies, any YouTube, anything around you these days, in school, in anything really, in every country too, if you look, you'll see that there's a war against God. And why do I say that? Everything that is holy, everything that's pure, it's being destroyed. So, and like I said, I noticed it just recently, but it's been going on for the past 10 years or even longer. So basically in the last 10 years, that's when it really, really, really started. But there's a huge war against everything holy, pureness, everything decent, everything like marriage like, a man and a wife, a woman, against life itself, against the Bible, the prayer, the church, against free speech on different platforms, against innocence, childhood innocence, all those people that get dressed very, against the food that God created. And it just shows what we are into right now, against God's law, and just against walking a narrow path. So basically all those morals and those standards that a Christian person holds dear, all those standards are being destroyed, they're being laughed at, they're being mocked, they're being, something is happening against that. So if you look at all those little points I talked about, it just shows that different things in life, in the news, in the videos and movies, everything kind of goes against that, and it goes to show what we are living in. And if you're like, what does it mean, what does it mean, if you or if you don't believe me, you're like, oh, whatever. But what do they show on TV for little kids to see? Even for adults, are we so, as adults, are we so used to everything that we are like, oh, this is just life, this is normal? And then what about the values that we see? What are they pushing into our kids in schools? What are they teaching them? What about the sexual education that they're pushing at our kids? And then and actually the marriage, the with no divorce and with no how to keep a sanctity of marriage, that's kind of gone. So yeah, there's a huge war against God. It just shows that whoever is in control of the media, of the TV shows, of everything else that we see these days, they are against God. They are not for Christian values, they are not for the biblical values, they are not for the Bible. They are actually are against it. So it's not really like someone walking down the street and they're yelling, we're against this and that, but it's more like in the background that's being happening. And nobody, if you're not paying attention, you probably just get used to everything. You just feel like, oh, this is just life. This is normal things that happen these days. But yeah, if you look at everything as a whole, it just makes it opens your eyes for sure. So I was reading about the Bible and how they're trying to change the Bible in certain places. I even found a site, it's called historycollection.com, and they're talking, there's like 18 alterations that were made to the Bible, different verses that have been added, removed, and modified to alter their meaning, and some have been simply forgeries inserted for political and social reasons. Yeah, so it just shows that the holy book. And then I saw a video, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but there's like I don't remember which city, but they were like tossing the Bible and then were tearing it and they were like destroying it. So the Bible is not a holy book to them. It's like something that they just destroy. The second one was the Bible got banned from some schools. And recently I heard about the Utah school that got, they removed their Bible from the middle and elementary schools. Apparently someone complained that the Bible had some vulgarity and violence, and they called it sex-ridden book. So, and the lady said, so it's inappropriate book, and she said remove this porn from our schools. So they're calling the Bible porn, and they're calling the Bible that it has too much vulgarity, violence, sex-ridden book around, which just makes me wonder what were they reading? Did they actually reading the Bible? Yeah. But at the same time, the schools are pushing different things to our kids that are very inappropriate. That's for sure. So as I was doing my research, I realized that in 1962, I guess 55 years ago, the Supreme Court issued a ruling striking down school-sponsored prayer. So in 1962, they said no to prayer. And a year later, they banned from reading and teaching the Bible. So as you see, it started way, way back then when they actually removed it from public schools and removed religion, I guess, from children. So that's when it started. Possibly they had other things that they were doing at that time as well, but this is when I feel like when it actually started. But in the past 10 years, it's when it started, everything started. All the sin of this world started being pushed into us, stating it's normal to feel like this, it's normal to be like this, and accept it into your church, into your Bible, into everything that we have. Especially the number 3 that they're pushing right now is a lot of I'm sure you guys all heard, there's a lot of sex gender issues that we're facing today in schools, in public places, about the bathrooms and Just the ruling that they're doing these days about the change and the doctors who are involved and different states who are involved, and just little things that they're stating and pushing through to make it seems like everything is normal. Um, and even I think I even saw a video about a church, even a pastor or whoever it was. They were like walking around. They were showing the world that they're okay with everything that the media and the news and the law of the country is pushing into them to do. So basically, they were like, yes, come on over. We're okay with everything that you pass on. We're good. Just, we love everyone. And then they were saying about something about Jesus being that and God and different things that they were saying. Yeah, I don't even feel comfortable repeating it. Number 4, there's a war against life itself. And I'm sure you all heard about different abortions clinics that they're doing, and different people are against it, different states and different places where they're for it and then they're against it. So there's different things, but it's being pushed about to people, stating it's normal, it's okay to do this, it's okay. And so basically pushing the children may say, or young adult or whoever, that it's okay to kill, to which is the Bible tells us not to kill. And then if you believe the media and if you believe the news and everything else, you feel, oh, it's okay then, and you start believing that instead of believing the Bible. Number 5 is the food that we are eating these days. Everything is being all the good and healthy and delicious foods are being changed by chemicals, by they're pushing different bugs and different things into our commercials and everything that we see these days. So it just shows that they're trying to have people eat different things that they would have never eaten before. And then they're stating, to save the planet, you have to eat less meat or not eat meat at all, which I'm okay with that, but then they're killing animals and they're killing and hurting them, and so sad. Because we have heard a lot of factories, a lot of farms are being closed. So it just shows that this world is going against our Christian values. Because in our values, we do not kill animals unless we need it for food. But just killing it just for the fun of it, just because they're hurting the planet, yeah. And the last thing I read recently, actually today, I read that they were showing a girl who was eating her meniscus knee. I don't know. But so the doctor, I guess, took it out of her knee. She had surgery. And somehow she took it home and she cooked it and she ate it. And she said, oh, it's good to eat human meat. And it tasted great. So it was an article I read and I was like, whoa. And like they were talking and discussing it. And then in the bottom it says, they said, well, in the UK and the USA, there are no specific laws against cannibalism. And in that article, they're discussing that different people were eating people for different reasons and how it tasted. And there was like one person said it tasted so amazing, another person. So basically, they're talking about eating humans. And then in that article, it says, however, the act which a way a person can eat someone can be against the law, so you can murder someone. And then they said, despite this and conflicting account of its flavor, because different people were saying different things. Some experts say that cannibalism could be a solution for climate change. Yeah, please tell me, how can that be true? But as you see, it's just everything is being, if you look at the big picture and how things are happening around us, how um, what what are the books that are pushing, what are they pushing the values to our children, and all the things that they're telling us, it just shows that there's a war against God. They want to be gods, and they want to have their own rules, and they want to people be, I guess, I'm not sure, eating things that they shouldn't be eating, and doing things that they should not be doing, and just dressing how they should not be dressing, and how doing surgeries when they should not be doing surgeries. It just, our world is going crazy. So if that made you realize that yes, there's a huge war against everything holy, against everything biblical, against everything that God ordained, then yes, it's how can we solve this problem? I don't think there is a solution really. It has been, this war has been going on for a while, and only the coming of Jesus will stop everything in its tracks. But this world is going to its end, and it's the last days that we're living in, and it will just turn worse and worse. And the verse I want to read to you, it's in Revelation chapter 13:7. It says, "It was allowed to make war on God's holy people and to defeat them." So as you see, at first I thought it was only against God's holy people, but truly it's about God's everything holy, everything that God pertains holy. Um, there's a war going on, and let me know what you think about this. If you think it's, oh no, you're over exaggerating, let me know. I don't mind that. Let me know in the comments. But hopefully, as long as we pray and stick together to our biblical values, and no matter what happens, we'll be good. As long as we stick to that, we'll be. God will return, and we'll all be in a happy. This world will be in a happy place afterwards. But until then, I do not see a solution to this. Well, God bless you. Stay well and stay holy.